guys, it's Miss Saldana. I'm back and we're talking research, but specifically, we're talking food. So if you look over, we have our lovely burger and fries, spaghetti and meatballs, your pizza rolls, maybe your Hot Pockets. They're not in there, but they're probably hiding in the back. And of course, the good old Cheetos. So, yes, you've picked up on this. Our research mini unit for remote learning is going to be all about food. I'm pretty sure we've been eating a lot of food, a lot of snacking. So this is going to hit really close to home. Okay, so here's our main question that we're going to play with throughout this mini remote learning research unit is do people need to understand their food world to better understand their food choices? So all of us have a very unique food world depending on our backgrounds, right? So I know that Miss Saldana here, I have a Latino background, so my food world looks a lot different than my husband's, right? Because he is not Latino. So his exposure to food is a lot different than mine, or was different growing up. So we need to consider that. Also, what's around us. That's our food world, right? When you walk out the corner store or the main grocery store that you have, that's part of your food world. So we're going to look at that. We're going to understand our food world and we're going to realize do people really need to understand their food world to understand their food choices? Who knows? We're going to explore that. Before we explore that, we're going to think about these initial wonderings. So all related. So questions about our question, right? We're going to think about, is it necessary to know what is in our food? Like, should we even care? Is it even a big deal? Is it our responsibility? Throwback to the argument unit. Is it our responsibility to understand how our food is made? Next initial wondering question is, well, why are organic food grocery stores like Whole Foods, right? You've heard of it, very expensive. They call it whole paycheck for a reason. But why are those only available in specific communities and not others? If you notice, there is no Whole Foods in Pittsburgh. Why? Final initial wondering is, why are there more corner stores available in some communities and not others? And you guys, there's a reason for this. And these are wonderings all connected to that main question, right? About our food world. So just keep those questions in the back of your head as we're exploring our big question. All right. So how are we going to explore that big question about our food world? Like, do we need to understand our food world in order to make better food choices? We're going to be, of course, focusing on personal experience. If we're talking about food world, well, it's all about your experience. Our food worlds look very different, which I just explained a second ago. We're going to be looking at videos that I've gone through to kind of give us some perspective. We're going to look at some nonfiction books that I've selected. I've vetted them through. They're just going to give us a lot of information so that we can make informed decisions and get an informed idea about this question that we're trying to explore. And then we're going to look at articles. I'm going to give you guys a chance to kind of go through a database called Google Scholar. I may throw out another one, so kind of keep your mind open. We're going to be using the CRAP test. Great name, isn't it? It's a lovely test to check the credibility. And of course, if it does not pass, it's crap. Ha ha ha. Get it? Get it? The CRAP test. I'll give you the breakdown of what the CRAP means, but pretty much it's just checking to see, is the article worth using or not? Because there's a lot of stuff out there that's not the best. Okay. And then finally, we're going to be using articles from Newsela. I may have already had you sign up for it. So if you signed up, you're good to go. And Newsela is really cool because it talks to Google Classroom. If that doesn't really make sense to you, don't worry. That's just a nerdy teacher thing. I love that it works really well with Google Classroom because it's easy to post assignments. But that's not for you to worry about. That's just an organization thing that I think is super cool. Also, the articles from Newsela are very credible, so we don't need to endure the CRAP test to read any articles from Newsela. Okay? All right. And finally, let's start thinking about our own food world. Let's start just kind of reflecting about, what goes on in my normal day-to-day basis with food. What do I eat? Where do I get it from? And I would even think about what's happening now during the COVID pandemic, and I would even think about before that, right? That all of it counts as your food world. So this reflection, you're going to see this reflection in your Google Classroom. So I'm going to ask you to do the reflection in Google Classroom. You're going to be describing your food world. What does your food world look like? Think about what you eat in a typical day for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. Include after school meals as well. Think about meals you eat on the weekend. And then number 2, do you know how your food is made? Why or why not? And then number 3, do you personally think you make healthy food choices? So I'm kind of throwing that question back to you. Like, now that you're reflecting, sometimes I don't think about my food choices until I actually write it down, and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have gone that route, right? So think about that. Do you think your food world allows you to make healthy food choices? If your only option is Nando's Corner Store, is that allowing you to make the best food choices? I don't know. Something to think about. So this is going to be about 6 to 8 sentences, and you'll find more details on this in your Google Classroom. Okay? And also, of course, it will be answered in Google Classroom. Okay? All right. I can't wait to get started. I can't wait to start exploring this. But right now, let's start with you. Put your heart into the reflection and just be really honest with yourself. Okay? All right. Enjoy.